I've returned now. I think it's like 40-50 minutes left altogether. I'm looking at Carlson. I'm sure you guys been watching. Connected to good. I would have said that actually e5 square belongs for the knight. I would have said they moved the queen. You know what's the interesting idea? There is no light square bishop back the queen. Oh, it's Magnus's turn, and you know what's interesting? He's on 12 minutes. I mean, quite the opposite of yesterday's situation. Magnus is on 12 minutes, and Gukesh is on half an hour. So a little bit reversed. If you were white here, probably you would be looking at rook f to e. This guy is sort of with a big question mark. If you just look at the bishop captures, neither pawn or rook, the b3 pawn like a liability. On the other hand, if this were to happen, if the bishop were to take on c5, you guys probably noticed that there is another bishop looking at f6, so that'll be messing up a bit the pawn structure defending the black king. Might be another idea. That might be amongst others, obviously. Might be seeing many others yourself. And you're more than welcome to actually communicate so we can discuss and analyze them together. Okay, let's look at the eval bar. Minus 0.15. Very much playable. Very much playable. So I don't think particularly bishop h4 was a funky one. Actually, it's good because it might deterring Dash to take the knight on c5. That might be one idea. I don't think you particularly want having this knight traded and with double pawns here. Probably you're not very keen. So this knight for the time being might be safe, but for how long? Say. Just wondering, do you guys reckon that maybe b6 might be playable? Is this the move that actually forces the white knight to just leave? Probably Magnus is considering all these ideas. Can you attack something? Um, Tough one. That's a tough call. Magnus is supposed to become something very much viable here and playable. So I think he is actually concerned now about the b3 weakness. That might be the main of its focus on concentrated on the b3 square and y pawn. b6 probably will be happening, and you don't want to lose points. He played rook f to e, and the engine gives minus 0.35. What is Gukesh going to play here? What if b6? What if b? What does white play after b6? Just asking. These are very important points, and if they fall, actually Gukesh manages to get two passes on the queen side. Just something. It is something. It matters very much. As soon as the pieces come off the board, the passes are becoming more and more stronger. It's a very serious issue. Let me know, guys, if you notice something else. If you propose something that I missed for white, for black, you're welcome to participate. And so the thing that actually concerns white probably is b6. What will Magnus play? Is the question. Hello, Step. Good to see you, brother. How's it going? Um, how do you feel about b6 being played by black here? What do you personally think about it? b6. How honestly, in all honesty, how do you feel about it? What do you play? You play knight a6, knight d3, knight e4. Is there something stronger? Actually, I'm not even sure that's the strongest. That's black's strongest move. I'm gonna ask the engine though. I mean, personally, I'm the most concerned about this white knight leaving the c5. It's absolutely a very looks a frightening move. Honestly, if I had whites, I would be really concerned about. Oh boy, I didn't even ask the engine, but b6 was on my mind the very second I've noticed queen to d5, because queen to d5 was directly attacking b3, whereas knight d5 wouldn't have attacked b3. And I was wondering at that moment when Gukesh played actually queen d5, what the heck did he play? And then it dawned on me that actually the black queen wants to go for this guy and then for this guy. This is a very serious problem for white here. Not mentioning, as you very well said, step 65 is the bishop that actually can play this kind of stuff. It absolutely can. May I suggest also a5 ideas and bishop a6? Do you think that's even stronger? It's a delicate moment for Magnus here. Um, I think queen should be taken on b3, right? Okay, let's look at the potential attacking back of. Um, Let me tell you what might happen. If queen takes b3, if I was with white pieces here, I would probably take on f6. Bishop takes, g takes. And that's one idea. And then perhaps rook c7. Just say, I mean, you gotta have a counterplay here. Need the counterplay. Can't just defend. You can't just, there is no point for white after queen b3 to be chasing the queen around. You probably need to focus on f6 and creating double pawns on the f file. Am I correct, Step? What do you think? Why wouldn't you take on b3? It's because of what we said about the f6 weakness. Why would you personally do not capture on b3? I'm just curious. Why did you say that? Is it related with the f6? You also think that probably f6 shouldn't be left unattended or something? Or do you think black might be taken on e4? Knight takes, queen takes. Nah, then queen takes, then what? Rook a b8? Let's look at them. It's more interesting to look at them first and then getting the endorsement from the Almighty. Because black would be double pawns in an endgame. That's an angle. Yep, that's absolutely very, very reasonable. Then let's look at what? If not queen takes b3, what does black play? You're gonna play bishop b7? I don't think that's particularly bad because you're connecting the two black rooks. Then you're gonna making some rook a c8 counterattack to the c file potentially, and I don't think it's very bad for black. Bishop b7. I think a5 he might be slightly slow. maybe too slow. And at this moment now, you can't afford this luxury. You got to get the pieces out. And Gukesh probably needs to play bishop b7. Again, bishop b7, knight takes. You got to be very careful. Yeah, okay, bishop, knight takes, bishop takes, pawn takes. Double pawns indeed, but the knight on f3 has to be very carefully maneuvered because of this deadly battery g2. So that's something. That is something. So I agree. Maybe queen b3. That's something for him to ponder over. He's got to think about this one. Probably bishop e7 feels like the right moment now to just get the bishop off the back rank, connect the two black rooks. Exactly. Exactly right. Bishop b7 makes a ton of sense. Well, you know, if we manage to actually predict the last 5 moves, why not go for the whole game? What the heck? At least I'm curious if we're able to just signal the candidate moves. And if they play one of them, I'm declaring myself incredibly happy with this. So I think more important for black previously was not to take on b3, but rather developing the bishop and connecting the two black rooks. So let's just make it obvious for all our friends that might be watching. So that's very important to happen. And the bishop and the queen battery on g2 potentially. Now, you do have the opportunity once per game. Probably Magnus now has a chance, if I may call it this way. Knight f6, bishop f6, g takes. Double pawns on the file. On the downside of it, they need to be very careful about the f3 knight, which is the only piece currently stopping the checkmate on g2. If all these pieces go away, that means this guy, this guy, this guy, and this guy. So I've highlighted with red. If these pieces get traded, there is just this guy stopping the checkmate. You might be trying some knight h4 and then f3, but because, you know, there is no pawn to frustrate the knight on h4 if these trades happen as we said. And after knight h4, I might envisage some... Let me think. There are some... this one could be potentially... Knight f6, b, g. There's b3 hanging, d4 weak, a good battery. I agree with you. I agree. But what choices do you have? So, step 65. It feels like sometimes, not sometimes, on very many occasions, when you watch these guys playing with their superb level of accuracy, you get a feeling that one of them, it's like a boa constrictor. You know, it just suffocates step by step by step by step, you know, takes the space, takes the freedom, just until you just simply collapse. Something collapses at some point. That is if he doesn't blunder massively, okay? Which is very likely. But now time doesn't look very optimistic for Magnus. Whereas for Gukesh, bloody hell, 24 minutes. It's pretty much the reverse. Yeah, he took, but guys, he took, oh, this is sweet. How the hell didn't we think of, I mean, I thought about knight taking, but this is a little bit more than double pawns. This is a bit more than double pawns. This is sweet. I like it. The knight stays on e4 where it is. If you take with the bishop, though, do we have the same idea? Is there any difference in between knight takes and bishop takes f6? What was the funky stuff? What? You still have to take that guy back. I think Magnus would like to keep this knight here for as long as possible. Now, if bishop takes, they'll be attacking like, what, 3 times? So what do you do if bishop takes? Bishop takes bishop, which is... it's either this or that. It's got to be one of these two. You're going to take, right? Then pawn takes. And we are exactly in the position we discussed previously. We're exactly there. So not incredibly optimistic for white, indeed. Magnus probably he's not incredibly ecstatic about this. Rook c7. I don't know. Rook AC. So what are you gonna do? Rook EC. So look at this one. He took, right? What does Magnus play? You tell me. What does he play? Can you not take the bishop? Hello, Pranav. Good to see you, brother. Can you not take the bishop on f6? Oh, yeah, absolutely. Magnus created the weakness. Gukesh just capitalizes on it. It's going to be very tough for Magnus this game. Time-wise, if you're looking at the time, and apart from the time, if you look at the position, the battery with bishop e7 and queen d5 is very, very scary, very concerning. Do you take the bishop or not on f6? Can you afford not to take the bishop? Can you afford to play rook c4? Just asking. It's just a thought. I'm not sure if it's the perfect accuracy. Can you play rook c4 in a desperate attempt to at least blocking queen grabbing this one? Rook c7, Pranav. Rook c7 feels a little bit funky because rook ac8, what exactly did you do with that move? What exactly do you do with rook c1 to c7? I know you're hitting the bishop, but the queen is here. Is there any way for you to hit the queen? And if it's not, what do you achieve? You could. Okay. Okay. Then rook takes. Then rook takes. Then the other. Okay, hold on a second. Rook c, rook c, rook ec, rook takes, rook takes, rook plays. What do you do? Takes and takes. Okay, you have disunited the bishop and the queen. Okay, you broke the battery for a second. Then maybe perhaps you can afford the luxury of queen c2 attacking the bishop. Then bishop back on b7. Right. And what's the follow-up? Then you take. Okay, I think we got like 8 moves here. Is it better? So I admit that the rook battery is always a good stuff to do and to achieve. I agree. I subscribe. I think that is the case indeed. But does that achieve something at this very minute? Yeah, okay. Okay. I'll say yes to what you wrote, Pranav. I would say yes. I would say yes. And if I am correct in my yellow paint here that I drew, I just wonder if we manage to break the battery after all these trades happening, if we just manage to get the bishop on c8 just for a second, just for a tempo, until Magnus manages to move the queen over to c2. But no, because, yeah, you do manage, but then the bishop comes back on b6. So he took. But this stuff, we've already anticipated, and we proposed this sequence like when? Like 10 minutes ago. Queen e3, I didn't take. Okay, that's a sweet one. Sweet because we got a couple of reasons. Why I do like queen e3. It does defend b3 temporarily, but that's not the main purpose. The main purpose is you want to get the queen on h6, I reckon. You want to get the queen on h6. You want to get the rook on c7. Maybe you can find some play. Magnus does not prefer particularly what trading? What? How do you trade? Oh, you want to play queen h5. Oh, okay. Mind you, though, rook c7. Oh, okay. I thought you're talking about the current position on the board. Queen h5, it's an interesting thought, Pranav. That's an interesting thought. If you want to play now. Actually, I think it's quite good because queen h5 stops the queen h6, for instance, whilst you maintain double attack on the f3 as an idea. And that's another one step. That is another one. It's sweet. Now, queen, after queen h5, Obviously, you can't play queen h6, but you could still play queen to f4. Do you see it? Bing, bang. You still play queen here. That is, targeting f6. This is just not over. They're all ideas, Step. They are all ideas. And that's what we love about this game. It's full of concepts, yeah. Another setback, my friends, another setback for queen h5 would be rook c1 to c7. If queen goes away, and okay, let's say queen h5 and then queen f4. Obviously, if black takes, you do not take back straight away. You play something with tempo. You're going to take on f6. No, 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 no. No. So, queen h5, queen f4, bishop takes, pawn takes. I don't know. Tough. Tough-ish. Hard to say. Very difficult to say at this stage now. What's this? Okay. Uh, I like it. By the way, in order for Magnus to get half an hour, and there is another problem for Magnus now. Righty, righty, righty makes a ton of sense. Rook 8 to c8, it is meant to simply discourage white in any attempt to place a rook on c7, 7th rank. So obviously you can't do it. That's obvious. Now it's Magnus' turn. Do you know what's Magnus' biggest problem ever now? He's got 5 minutes, and until move 40, when he gains half an hour, there are like 11 more moves to play. 11 more moves. So that's an issue, amongst others. So the positional issue he's having at the minute now. Oh, Gukesh managed excellent time management right from the very start. Absolutely fabulous, Gukesh now. Time management. Absolutely great. So, this is a deadly battery. White needs to tread very carefully. The C file is being under challenge now for both colors. The D4 pawn is a bit of a weakness. On long term, that is. So let's assume the bishop and the queen and the knight and the queen come off the board. We do have a problem with the d4 pawn. Just to mention. Just to mention. Yeah, he probably generated some contexts that made Carlsen to actually spend more time thinking. So the d4 pawn, so this is the value, or let's put the non-value of an isolated pawn. If this piece has come off the board, namely bishop, queen, and knight, queen, the d4 is a major liability. This is a very delicate one. h3, why on earth? Why, oh, why, oh, why? Let me just go back a bit. Why the hell didn't he play F or why? Because B3? Yeah, but F6 is F6, right? That's not a weakness. Why didn't he play Queen F4, Queen H6? Okay, why didn't he play these? Okay, let me ask the engine at this stage here. The engine says Queen F4, which I did say exactly previously. Rook C8 just feels interestingly just to bang, bang, boom, boom, boom. Okay, cool. But Queen F4, I've said it, and it's preferred by the engine as the second line. The move Magnus played is not that great. It's H3, and it just makes me a little bit sad. H3, it's absolutely no comparison with Queen F4. I mean, you need to hit the F6. I mean, H3, why the hell did he play it? Even if it has some virtues, it's painfully slow. It is painfully slow. And I don't see any modification of dynamics here. What does it do exactly? So what's the catch with the H3? What the heck is that? Oh boy. Okay. That's a weird option by Magnus H3. Queen F4 would have been a good one because at least you're targeting something. Well. Now, obviously, the engine gives more advantage for black, minus 0.62. Now, the initiative belongs to Gukesh. Gukesh will be deciding what's going to happen. How is he conducting the attack now? I mean, black can think of all sorts of stuff. Is what? Oh, yeah, queen. That's good. Queen F5. Because now you know what's coming, guys, right? It's coming this. It's coming this, whoop, this, and this. This is it. That's what's going to happen. I don't know what magic Magnus can uh, summon here, but really, that's these are the next steps. So Gukesh at this stage, I think, just wants simply to take on f3, get rid of the queen and the knight, and then he'll be using the rooks, which are more happily positioned. Bang, boom, and then grab. Okay, dokie. Nice little one. And Magnus, exactly as I said, Magnus has a big problem, and that is the time. He needs 9 more good decent moves in order to get the half an hour. Just not to do like Prague did yesterday when he got the half an hour one was already too late. When Prague played yesterday, Eric Gaise, he got in such a mess due to the same time trouble. And then, although he got the half an hour, it didn't matter for nothing. Maybe. But that's, yeah, maybe, perhaps. I still think it's a bit slow. You know why? Because it might allow White, out of desperation, it might allow White some f3 just to stop that bishop. I mean, it's not ideal. Don't get me wrong. It's painful. Everything is painful for White now. D4 is a major weakness. It's an isolated pawn. It matters very much. Yeah, I suspect you can. Or maybe just leave the king where they are for the time being. Um, let's think. Rook takes. Rook takes. Rook plays. Nah, that just simply... No. No, that's not good for black. No, I don't think it should be doing that. King h8. Can it do that? Yeah, I don't see why not in particular. It does allow white, though, to try and think about some other stuff. It does allow white to play this. So if you do king h8, Pranav, king h8, it does allow white to play this kind of ideas. I mean, just showing what I'm personally envisaging at this second now, if this were to happen, as you said. This, so if king h8, looking at knight g4, and you've got to take care of that one. And also, if you go back with the queen on d5, it might be some f3. And you got to be very careful about ef6 again. So, the idea with moving the black king now, it's the perfect invitation for white to improve the position and getting the knight from an idle square to a very active one. Hello, Strobex. No, long time no see, buddy. How's it going? Thanks for visiting again, my friend. Good to having you here, because we need the best ideas for both white and black. This is quite dramatic. Problem for Magnus is 3 minutes, 43 seconds, and 9 moves until he gets the extra 30 minutes. So that's difficult. Okay. Oh, that. Oh my days. This is ah. This is forcing queen straight. Is it forcing queen straight now? Can you play? No, you can't. You need to take the black queen. Takes and takes. And Gukesh has achieved uh oh, by the way, knight g4, which I said that if king h8 might happen, it just happened now. I don't know what it means auto-moded, Pranav. I have no idea. What does that mean? Did I do something? I mean, I didn't touch the settings for like a couple of weeks now. Yeah, just let me know, Pranav. Is there something I did, or I mean, again, I haven't touched the settings on Twitch for a few weeks. I don't know what is that. Anyway, back to the position. Knight g4 was a slight improvement of the position for white, and the engine actually confirms. Oh, oh, I see. Automat takes knight g. Oh, bloody hell. Okay, I got it. I understand what you're meaning now. Okay. Well, it's just knight g4, so these are the symbols. Yes, I understand perfectly. Not a problem. We know what we are talking about. So, yeah, knight g4 is definitely an improvement for white here. King had been moved on g7. The balance now had been reduced a little bit, the handicap for white, but still black is a bit more happier. d4 is still a liability here. What will happen if... Oh my god, Magnus is on 2 minutes now. Gotta be kidding me. Okay, takes a knight here. Ooh, he tries to wreak havoc now because this is so... He doesn't trade. He tries to break something on the A and B. If this were to happen, maybe this. And Castle's gonna go like this. He's just gonna play it this way. If this way, then this. Then potentially this. Therefore, the knight will not be challenged by a B pawn or D pawn. That's a nice little one. Bang, boom, queen takes, knight takes, potentially knight c4 cutting off the rooks. Potentially. Maybe. But it's just very bad at the time. Very bad at the time. Anyway, Magnus is doing well in the blitz and bullet. So I suspect he will find the resources to pull 7 more moves to get into the half an hour extra. Yeah, if you want to shut everything, I don't think Gukesh is gonna take on a5. You don't want to take because you complicate it unnecessarily. Probably exactly as you said, b5 might be a thing, or just do nothing in terms of that thing, do nothing in terms of the pawn, and just focus on way to improve Black's position, since he does have a very hefty 12 more minutes. Hello, Baron. Good to see you, brother. How's things? So, do you know what's the good stuff about Gukesh's position here? You could just simply ignore the a5. Just do whatever you want to do. Yeah, there is something funky. If you ignore it and white would take, then when this thing happens, when this thing happens, nothing happens. Queen takes, knight takes, and then you're just gonna grab the pawn, and that's it. And that's it. H5. Does it? Yes. Yes. Good. Spot on. Spot on. Pranav. Spot on, my friend. Yeah. Yeah. Um. Sort of forces. Sort of forces. H5, knight H2, queen takes, pawn takes. It's not ideal at all. Actually, I think it's good for white because you are allowing white to take with the F and protect the D4 in a natural way. So I'm not quite sure I'm not fully convinced about h5, and also feels a little bit. Okay, it's good to send the pieces back on the rim or backwards. I agree. So I'll give you that. It is good to send pieces back. As of taking the white queen, then white taking with f, I'm not that sure anymore. But no, there is actually no. You're right. h5, if this goes here, is just simply checkmate. So it does forces. Yes, you're right. Yes, you're right. Yes, you're right. h5, it's not slow. It's actually quite something. Oh, thanks for the update, Aman. Did it lost to Abbas? Oh, sorry. What was that guy's name? Nibal? Nija? Oh, okay. I don't want to mispronounce the man's name. Yeah, it was the Azerbaijani Abbasov. Abbasov. Thank you, Pranav. Abbasov, indeed. Yes, that's the Azerbaijani GM. Yeah, I was just completely taken by this game, and I only put my focus on this. So that's what we're having at the minute now. Yes. So who said h5 forces the queen's trade? What friend of ours? Was it Varan? No, was Pranav. Yes, Pranav. Oopsie daisy. No, that's just a mouse slip played by me. Go back. a5 played by Magnus. Oh, he doesn't have too many options anyway. It's quite painful for him now. So yes, I think h5 would be queen takes, pawn takes. Then you gotta you must play knight e3. And just wondering, rook takes, and rook takes, then takes, and what do you do? Still better for black, right? This is just 2 minutes 30 seconds for Magnus. I mean, I really want to see this one. I want to see if someone makes a blunder. Well, I mean, it's just quite dramatic. It's very dramatic. It is very, very dramatic here. I mean, not very often you see Magnus with 2 minutes and his contender with 13 minutes. So Gukesh must have played a couple of moves that made him think really long and hard, and he got himself into this. Oh, there are definitely some chances for Aman. By the looks of it, Gukesh is going to pull a victory today. Absolutely. Yeah, in open positions, bishops are stronger than the knights, which thrives in close positions. Yeah, that bishop is a monster. Absolutely. It's more problematic for white than black here. And one of the main reasons is the d4 weakness, which matters absolutely. And everything matters. But yeah, I guess this move will force the queens to come off. And probably he should play it. Probably he should play it. I don't see any other resource for Magnus to employ here. I don't know what else can. If you see some other stuff, let me know, guys. I don't want to put the engine. I want to think for ourselves. And if there's something absolutely super critical, we can then resort to the AI. Until then, we'll just try to figure out ourselves. It's nice. Gukesh has a lot of time now, and he can sit down, think, give it a few more minutes. Still, the Black Spawn Islands are a bit more optimistic than White's. I mean, this guy is a problem, and B3 is a problem. These are weaknesses. B3 is weak after queens come off the board, that is, Aman. D3 is weak, D4 is weak. This guy probably gonna be traded. I don't think Black's gonna take, though. I think White's gonna take. You don't want to have double pawns on A because they are easily attackable by a rook. So I don't think Gukesh is going to be taken on A5. What I think he's going to do, probably H5. Pranav said H5. Probably H5. Probably queen takes E3 just for this. No. Queen takes E3, it's not that good because F takes and then the D4 is no longer weak, so to speak. After queen trade B5. You could. You could. You could. D5. But you're putting the pawn. Maybe bishop would like to do something at some point. But yeah, I think you're right. You might be thinking of that one. B5 and A6 at some point, maybe. Maybe. That is correct, Pranav. That is why I don't think the black queen is very keen to take on E3 because of F takes. That's exactly right. I agree. So probably Pranav now contemplates and he calculates ideas like H5. Again, queen takes, pawn takes, and you still have to play the knight. Then okay, knight to E3. We'll take it from here. It is what it is. Then probably B5 because also that would be stopping the knight to go on C4. That's another subtlety here. Why did he take on E3? The engine suddenly says he lost half the freaking advantage. No, really now. I mean, I know I'm not really the a super GM here, but isn't it obvious that Queen E3 actually allows White to get rid of the weakness on D4? What exactly did he consider here? I mean, I don't think that's the right way. And you know something, guys? I'm going to go back a little bit. And now I'm going to ask the Almighty if H5, which is, by the way, Pranav's idea. Hey, Pranav, you got to be proud of yourself, brother. H5 is actually the move. And you called it like freaking 10 minutes ago. I'm sorry, Gukesh didn't hear you. You called the H5 10 minutes ago. So you see, you play like Gukesh, brother. You may be becoming Gukesh, right? Bloody hell, H5 makes a ton of sense. Queen E3, I'm not sure. I'm not that sure anymore because F takes E. Because F takes E3 and D4 is cemented, is nicely looking, nice and protected. And now I don't know what to say. Games, it's open. Yeah, exactly. And connect the pawns. Exactly. Pranav, you called it, brother. You said it. You said it yourself. And I agreed with you without asking the engine. Then I've asked the engine, and the engine confirmed. Yes, H5 would have forced the black queen into trade. And he would have connected the pawns on the king's side. Very nice. And D4, Pranav, D4 would have still be a liability. Which now not going to happen. But can someone explain why knight e3? Okay, I want to understand a bit more. F takes e3, I would say it's the normal, natural reaction. Knight takes e3? Okay, there must be a subtlety here. If rook takes and rook takes, and the other rook takes, okay, what's the stuff? Ah, so you want to say that actually Gukesh actually anticipated after some rook's trade, one of the two black rooks would be on g2, and that would be bishop colluding with the rook for the g2. I get it now. So knight e3 is does not allow that to happen. And knight e3 also will stop any possible rook coming to the c2 square, that is. Uh-huh. I understand. Hello, Damit Premasiri. Yeah, I think so. But you know something? Rook g8 will take a billion years to do. I mean, you've got to do what? Like king h6 and rook g. Uh, perhaps. Perhaps. Maybe. That would be eliciting, I guess, damn it. That might be eliciting some g3, and then the bishop really is completely taking a ton of light squares. That might be a thing. That might be a thing. Thanks for your idea. I think it's a very interesting one. But really, is there something fundamentally wrong with rook takes c, and rook takes d4? I would assume because of rook c7, and that's what's wrong. So if rook takes, aha, he took the weakness. Now, white rook takes, and now what are you going to play? You're going to play with tempo. This, and either this or that. Probably you're going to play rook to c7 regardless. Oh, bloody hell, this is far from over, guys. Ah, that's such a nice knight here because it stops checks and defends g2. This is sweet. So, now Gukesh's got to play. I mean, he's got just 3 options here, guys. 1, 2, 3. That's it. And any happening is still rook c7. Whatever you want to do. So he's not going to play bishop b7 because then you're going to be sorry. After rook c7, you're going to have to play the bishop again. And after you play the bishop again, things going to starting to fall off here. Ooh. Well, you never know, Pranav. Maybe you will be Gukesh sooner than you think. I'm very optimistic. Don't limit yourself. Enjoy the process anyway. Enjoy the process. So there you go. Yes, yes. Bishop d7, defended by the rook. When this thing happens now, that's exactly, it makes a ton of sense. I called it, they played it. What is black playing? They took because that guy, I mean, now rook's going to take. How do you defend this guy? You're going to push forward. Yes. Takes and potentially bishop takes. Obviously, you're not taking with the rook because rook takes the bishop. So you take now with the pawn. Bishop's going to take. Yes, bishop's got to take. And now, hell, we've got just one more move, and our boys will be getting half an hour each. Happy days now. We're gonna be witnessing at least one more hour of this fine gentleman battling one another. So that would be nice. Okay, what have we got here on the board? Factual stuff, guys. The knight is on e3, which means, do you know what's the good stuff about the knight on e3? It's a dark square. That means that the bishop cannot attack the knight. Very nice. Very nice. The rook now is free. For instance, that would be a complete cutoff. The king can't move closer. This is it. Can't move closer. The bishop, you need to find a safe spot for this guy. Where do you move the bishop? Where do you move it? You move it here, will be further attacked, I would imagine. If you move it here, I don't know. You want to be always targeted by the knight to be taking you? I'm not quite sure. I'm not quite sure anymore. So now it's kind of looking drawish. Bishop d1? Pranav, you said bishop d1. Why? Why bishop d1? First, I don't think knight's going to take your bishop. And I don't see what's the stuff with bishop d1, really? What do you want to play? Okay, you want to put the bishop somewhere. I don't know where. Maybe for the time being here. Or maybe here. I'm not sure where at the minute. You would like to have the black rook on the first rank checking, but how? You can't make it on d1 now. Oh, we do have idea. We just need to take it step by step until we realize the best plan of action. Now, it's already move. Oh, after move 40 had been played. After Gukesh now plays the move, both Magnus and Gukesh get half an hour each. That's it. We're going to see more instructive chess ending game. Now, there are double pawns. So, black is having one extra pawn, but the pawn islands are, you know, double pawns on the F. So that's a pawn island here. And that's an isolated pawn. Okay. White is having everything very nice and smooth and sweet here. Knight on e3. The bishop can't really hit the knight because the bishop moves on on light squares. So it starts looking increasingly drawish now. I reckon the white knight will stay on e3 a long term. They will be just staying there. Does an incredibly good job because it stops any rook d1 and c2 and d1. So that's nice. You got to be very careful with black, by the way, because if you want to push the pawn, you may have the very unhappy scenario with the fork, knight to f5, king, and rook. So Gukesh has to play very carefully. And then again, where does the bishop go? What is the plan? How are you going to break things? If Gukesh had a pawn on g, just saying, if this guy instead of f6, they would have been on g6, You could have thought maybe at some point to just coming down the board and do something, but you can't. You can't challenge this pawn unless you have rook on g6 and somehow the bishop here to do this. But blind me, that will take a billion years, very many attempts, and I guarantee Magnus not going to just sit and wait, sit and look at it. So that's gonna be a very difficult task for anybody, that is, and that's this for this exact reason. Now the engine tells you is just minus 0.28. And the Black King really does not have a big prospect of coming down unless Gukesh just heard our discussion and now he understands that by playing f5 he's in no long by playing e5 he's not in danger of knight f5 fork. So by moving the king to g6 he actually really does want to push e5. And you know what that means, guys? Whoop, the bishop goes on d7, and suddenly the bishop on d7 attacks very nicely along the d7 h3 diagonal. We talked about this idea. So I think it's the most optimistic scenario for Gukesh here. Other than that would be just a draw. But I don't think Gukesh wants to draw. He cannot afford to draw. He can't afford to draw. So I think e5 is in the cards with a good positioning of the bishop, nice diagonal, cutting off the rook, and potentially king gaining one more square, whatever the situation requires. So that would be one. Oh, yes, comes maybe. There could be some counterplay here, but it's not very easy. What Magnus can do, maybe you could think of this kind of harassment. This kind of harassment, you know. Got to be careful about this kind of things. Again, knight is unpredictable to some extent. So if you were with the white pieces, you got to think about this kind of ideas. I mean, what else do you want to attack? This is a monolith. This is a monolith. You can't break it. So what you can do is constantly hitting the bishop. Therefore, the rook must stay to defend. One. Another idea, just keep checking the king until you lead them to desperation. And be mindful of any possible tactics with the knight to make it very difficult for the black king. That would be it. Black, it's still a slightly better because these guys are really coming down. And Gukesh is going to push them down. Gukesh is going to push them down. King f1. You know, it's something weird about King f1. It's a bit counterintuitive. Normally, I do not want my king to move closer to the enemy pieces. You know, potentially, I don't want to do that. If I were to do something with the king, maybe just leave them there for the time being. And if I got a problem, king h2, I wouldn't touch the king now. What I would do would, if I were Magnus, probably I'll be looking at this kind of ideas. Just try check the king because you really, what else do you want to do? Really, what else do you want to do apart from rook a8 and knight g4? What other ideas might be possible, accessible for white here? Let me know if you see them. Magnus, 1 minute 23. Hold on a second. Weren't they supposed to get half an hour now? What's going on? This is oh, maybe starting with the move 41. All right. Okay. Okay, so there is no checkmate happening. So Magnus should be probably making a move any second now. He will be making a move any second now. Rook a8, rook g8. What else can Magnus play here? This one just feels like this is way too dangerous. This is a no-go zone. This is a no-go zone. If you do this kind of thing, you can no longer play rook a8 because you're gonna have this kind of ideas. It's just start looking funky. I wouldn't move my king on f1. Plus, I can't go anywhere. Even if I were able to reach the e file, what exactly am I doing? Going on f3? I don't know. I don't think that's what I want to do. I'm leaving the king on g1. If there's any problem, king h2. In the meantime, I'd be exploring rook a8, rook g8, knight g4, nothing else. Magnus, it's a wise guy. He would play incredibly positional now. He would probably calculate as much as possible. Of course he would. And he would definitely go for a draw. He don't want to lose, that's for sure. No one want to lose. But Magnus would accept a draw. I think if Gukish were to propose him a draw now, he would just take it in a blink of an eye. He would accept the draw. Well, I did not anticipate this g4 move. You know, guys, let me go back and actually ask the AI if rook a8 was a move. Rook c5 was a move, and g4, Magnus did play the best move in this position. What's wrong with rook? Maybe rook a8 is not that strong. After all, king g7, so you didn't do nothing. Rook c5. What does rook c5 do? Rook c5, rook c7 does... Rook c5, rook c7, stopping the king to move on g5 because you're actually hitting the weaknesses. This is the base of the chain. So you are hitting at the base. Okay, cool stuff. Cool enough. Enough. g4. Okay. King g2, king g3? Maybe yes, maybe no. No. G4, H4. Okay, that's too many. That's a bit of a stretch. Let's see. Uh, that's a good question. This is a very good question. What's the difference between rook a7 and rook c5 for this one? The only thing I can think of is that rook c5 does not allow bishop c6, if that means something. Is there something to do with the c? Yes, yes. Rook c5. That's not obvious. Why rook c5 and not rook a7? You know, I'd be tempted to say that actually rook a7, it's a bit cooler because you're still hitting the bishop whilst you're attacking the pawn. What the hell happens on a c file? Oh, you want to trade? Guys, does white want to trade? Is the engine attracted by the idea rook c? Well, the engine can't be attracted by anything, but just say rook c5, rook c4. Is this an idea to facilitate the draw? Step 65. Do you think that might be the reason? Just saying. Rook c5 for rook c4. Obviously, takes, and this and that, and probably a draw. Increased chances for a draw. Might that be the subtlety? So if black rejects the trade, but they kind of freaking can't neglect the trade, and that also takes the bishop c6 idea, as we said. This is a deep idea. The rook c5 is a very, very nice idea, very deep one, because he wants to do rook c4 for a draw, that is. That's what I can think of. And also might be going on c7 if necessary. And stopping the bishop. So they're like 2-3 things. Is this a healthy thought? What do you think? No, of course not gonna be easy. Of course not gonna be easy. But this guy is a dark square, dark square. Just move the king and just, you know, play the most accurate ending. I mean, what else can you do? The rook is still a danger, you know. This is quite strong. What do you think about this setup? Potentially rook b4, rook b1, and bishop c6. So if I am to have the black rook here, let me just do this. If the black rook was on b1 and the bishop was on c6, how would you feel with white here? I would be terrified. I'd be terrified about this. You need to do a little bit of readjustment and you need to move things around a bit, but you could achieve it. You might be able to achieve it. Anyway, rook c5 wants to throw a spanner in the works here and probably wants to do this. Probably. Probably. I might be wrong though. Um, I mean, let me put the engine and I try to decipher from the mysteries of the AI's mind. Bishop c6 because you will not have a second chance. So bishop c6 because you won't be able to get the bishop on this diagonal after rook c5. That's for one. Bishop c6, rook c5, bishop d7 because bishop d7 here protected by this guy, and after you push e5, it's nicely. So that's what the engine says. With minus 0.30. Not a huge advantage, but still a bit more initiative and stuff. Yeah, sorry for Vidit then. He played magnificent, absolute dramatic and fabulous players, these guys are, for sure. Okay, let's have more coffee. Okay, what other ideas? Hi there, Clean Chess. Good to see you, brother. Yeah, we're just debating now and trying to understand the AI's mind and what's the best stuff to, what's the best way to proceed. Bishop c6. Bishop c6, I mean, the last chance you've got to get the bishop actually actively doing something. Whoop, ding. Rook c5 by Master Carlsen straight away. Now the bishop can't move here. If he goes back here, that's where they were in the first place. And then rook c7 with a bit of a tempo, stopping the black king from moving down. Bishop d7 makes a lot of sense, especially in the light of advancing e6 to e5. That makes a lot of sense in the light of this idea. So that might be. You said bishop, yeah, probably you meant bishop b7 would be subjected theoretically to some rook c7 again, and I don't think Gukesh really is passionate about drawing at this moment. He will try to push for a win. So bishop b7 would be met with c7. Then if you go back, gonna be again, and then if you go here, gonna be again, and we're just gonna move around each other until you're gonna make it a draw. So if the bishop wants to stop harassment, the bishop must be playing d7, where is defended by the rook momentarily. And then you might be able to just push e5. And also creating possible king's incursion down the board. If the king makes it on g5 and h3, that's a bit of a problem. For white, that is. So if black manages to block somehow, allowing the black king to play g5 and then h4, h3 is a bit of a problem. You can't move, well, you can because the bishop is on d7, we said. But, you know, you got to be careful. Then rook might be playing here. So, okay, it's a complicated one. I really want to see how they do in this one. By the way, is there any other games, guys? Any other games happening? I hope you would not be very upset if I just very briefly peruse the other guys. Caruana Dominguez looks like equal. Prague and Erigaisi. So this is Prague and Erigaisi. Prague looking like he's actually doing incredibly well here. He's got 11 minutes though. He's got 11 minutes, Pragnananda here. It is Pragston with black. Oh man, that's a trip for the White King. The White King is here because they want to support the pawn on a6. So what is a Black King very close to attacking g2? But this guy is going to be falling, right? But if this guy is going to be falling and this guy takes and this guy takes, then I can take. That's a fair deal. Then rook takes here. True, but I'm taking this guys and then I'm going to be pushing these guys and promote. That's the long-term plan. If I'm correct, guys. If you disagree, let me know. So I guess, so just a possible scenario. King g3, bishop takes, king takes, rook takes, but king takes g. And now black is having two passes. Prague will not be missing on winning this one. You're going to win it. Because even if the rook would try to attack, let's say, sideways, right? You still have the rook here that just moves very nicely on g6. So you're not going to take nothing. The only thing you could do probably is just to keep checking the king. But after this check, the king will be attacking your rook. So rook's got to move. And then probably going to be pushing, takes, and now you have a passer. Right? So Prague is winning this one. Looks like he's going to win this match. And he should be winning. Again, I think after king g3, black's doing very well. Let me ask the engine if I'm right. Maybe there is another brilliant idea and I'm completely missing it. King g3, yeah, not the first thought of the engine, but the second. Oh, that is sweet, sweet. H4, that's a big subtlety. H4 is a big subtlety. Because you're still going to play g3, though. But for me as a human, king g3 really appealed to a greater extent. And I'm still happy the engine considers is still a good choice. King g3. That's what I saw. That's what I proposed. And the engine actually confirmed. Yes, indeed. King g3. Cool stuff, guys. Let's go to... Did they move? Not just yet. Gukesh is still debating what to do with bishop on c6. Let's go to Dominguez, Perez, and Caruana. Whose turn is now, brother? Fabi plus 1.38. After, guys, let me remind you, yesterday, Fabi managed to draw in a lost position. He managed to draw. What a resilient, combative player Fabi is. And now, by the looks of it, he might be winning. Fabi would white. The weakness here, oh, that is so sweet. Nice technique ending here. You're hitting the queen and the pawn. Obviously, he refused to because this is a weakness. What do you do here? Can you just move queen like this and then probably just moving queen out? I mean, what else can you do? You want to push? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Maybe. I'm not sure. I don't think it's necessary. Yeah, step. You wouldn't believe that, didn't you, brother? You wouldn't believe that. But actually, yes, he did. Crazy. He was supposed to be losing. He was supposed to be losing. And yesterday, boy, oh boy, Vidit tried so hard to win versus Abasov. And actually, he drew. After a very long, arduous, strenuous battle, he drew. Very tough matches. And today, unfortunately, lost. It's very, very brutal. Okay, so queen d2 for relaunching the queen someplace else. You want to do something with this queen, right? And where do you want to get the queen active? How do you get the queen activated? What's the plan? The idea to pushing the pawn would be where does... Okay, he still wants to play probably queen f3. He wants to play queen f3. He wants to trade the queens. Queen f3. That's what he want to do. Queen f3, which attacks the queen, puts a bit of pressure on f7. You know, this kind of ideas. 4-5, 3-4, 1. What is this exactly? Probably queen f3, right? That's the whole idea. That's the idea. Queen f3, and if queen here, probably queen g4 for a sweet checkmate. Yeah, let's go to Prague then. Nothing again. Let me see if that's correct. Queen f3 or... Yes, queen f3. Indeed, yes, sir. Queen f3. Bishop c3, I don't know. Maybe. Yeah, perhaps. But yeah, queen f3. I was right about this one. Let's go back to Prague and the other fella. Prague and Erigaisi. Prague black, Erigaisi white. Hey, Prague is a machine. Prague the machine. He did play h4. I mean, don't get me wrong. I did suggest King g3, confirmed by the engine. Anyway, but h4 was the first line of the engine, and he did see it. Uh, Make no mistake, this guy is incredibly strong and a potential world champion. We'll see. The future will tell. Okay. The Black King wants to go on G3, exactly as we discussed, guys. You need to go for the G2. Keep the status quo here, because whatever White attempts to do, he will need to go with Bishop takes C5. So there is, I mean, there's nothing you could do here. I mean, there's just nothing. You know, you've got to play. If you want to break stuff here, you've got to do Bishop takes and Bishop takes and King takes and this guy takes and this guy takes and this guy takes. That's it. Well, I know it's easier said than done, and it sounds like it's nothing, but it's a very viable plan. It's been confirmed by the engine. Now, because it's a human component, people might be playing something unexpected. But, you know, they still want to do their best, at least to draw. No one wants to lose. So that's all I can think about the current position here for Erigaisi. Does Erigaisi have anything else to do? You know what's the painful stuff about whites here? Erigaisi cannot provide support for G2 and H3. That is why he gonna lose. He cannot. These guys are bloody hell at the end of the universe in the opposite corner of the board. And there's no white piece that can do something about the G2 and H3. And that matters absolutely. Because when these guys are being taken, Pavel, when these guys are being taken, then you're obviously rolling down the points. And this is it. That would be it. So it's a bit painful for Erigaisi here. But Prague looks like he's going to win this one. He should be winning this one. He cannot not win. He cannot not win this match. He's going to be winning it. All right. Let's see if Gukesh and Magnus did something, because it's getting really, really heated here. So, guys, what did we see? We did see, I mentioned the king to g3, though, because you have to towards the end. So, where were we last time? We were here. Played bishop c6, rook c5, bishop e4. Oh, bloody hell, bishop. King h2, because obviously, yeah, king here, then maybe. No, this is so painful. Is he going to do that? King g3. King g3, sorry, rook d3 does stop white sort of to playing this because because rook takes and the pawn is pinned. So actually you lose if you do the f3. You can't do f3. So f5 anyway was Gukesh's turn. f5, and now Magnus's turn. Magnus is boasting 26 minutes now, and Gukesh 22 seconds. King f4. You know what's sweet about this move, King f4? There is something very nice. There are a lot of subtleties, and I absolutely love those nuances. You cannot touch this pawn because the bishop gonna be captured. There is no pawn on the g file to attack the king, and this pawn on e cannot move because of the rook and because of the king. Looks very, very nice. Very nice. And there is another idea. Have you guys counted the attackers and defenders? 1, 2, 3. And guess what? Black is having 1, 2, 3. So they will have to be very careful about always maintaining a constant 3 defenders on that pawn. So And by the way, it was a minus 0.80. And now look at the eval bar. It's minus 0.13. It's getting increasingly drawish now. But let's see what's going to happen. They're going to be fighting for a while. Now I think, again, Magnus would be happy with the draw. That is, if none of them makes a massive blunder, that should be a draw. That should be a draw, provided no one blunders massively here. That's a very nice comeback. I think along the way, Gukesh must have done something. Oh, yeah. When he took, yes, step if you damn Pranav. If Gukesh played h5, you know that critical, super critical moment when you said, Pranav said, I think, h5 forces the queen straight. If he had played h5, even the engine confirmed, that would have been a greater advantage for Gukesh in the endgame. The problem is he didn't play it. He didn't play it. He allowed Magnus action. He took the queen and Magnus then took on e3 and the freaking knight is still there even now doing an incredibly well job on e3, that is. Oh boy. So yeah, you of course you remember step. Of course you remember, brother. That was the moment. h5. Pranav called it. I admitted it. Yes, he was super forcing queen's trading. And Gukesh would have had connected pawns. This guy would have been here now. Way better pawn structure. And the situation very different. But hey, maybe next time. Maybe next time. Now we're looking at something that probably going to be a draw. And Book is not gonna rush it now. He's gonna think, what can he do? Let me think. Can he play the crazy h5? Just asking for a friend. Can he do that? To take the pressure off the f5 pawn. So I'm just looking at it now, and I'm looking at ways black can actually improve stuff here. I need to fathom a bit to get to that knight g5 from yesterday. But in this very position, ladies and gents, do you think that h5 would be the move that actually will take the pressure off the f5 and allowing the black king this kind of incursions? Hello, Ite. You can watch all the games on various platforms. You may go to chess.com. You may go to chess24. You may go to chessbase. Bloody hell, you may go to chessbase. You may go to leechess.org. There are very many. If you just, or YouTube, if you just type it in. I mean, if you want to see comments and stuff, you can go to, again, very many places. But if you want to just see the games, you go either to chess.com or Leechess, or chess24, or chessbase, just to name a few, you know, the most known games. So if you go to chess.com, as you can see now, if you go to the watch and then go to Fide World Cup 2023, you're going to have all the games. As simple as that. You can watch them on the mobile. I mean, how to watch it like this. You just left click on the game. So when you go to chess.com, you're gonna move to watch. You're gonna left click on FIDE World Cup 2023. Press on that one. You're gonna see games, info, games. You're gonna press games, and then you're gonna left click again on the game, and you're gonna see it exactly in this fashion. Right, guys, what did just happen? Oh, and by the way, I would like to ask the engine if h5 was at least a playable idea for Gukesh. Because I haven't asked the engine. I want to ask them now because I was slightly tempted about it. Let me just play it first. Hey, fellas, am I wrong when my idea wasn't that bad after all? I mean, the engine doesn't say it's doing bad, folks. Actually, the engine says it's doing slightly better for black. That was my thought. I haven't asked any freaking engine nothing. I just said maybe h5 takes the pressure off the f5 pawn, which is Very important. Very important. So you're going to take this guy at some point. Now, who said? Step said G5. Yes. But suddenly the computer hates it with a passion because of this and possible problems on F. The computer hates it deeply. H5, I think, is a move that the computer loves very, very much. And I did notice there is something virtue in the H5 move. Gukesh played F6. I don't. Is it that bad, F6? Okay, that's possible. That's possible. That's possible too. More and more equal. Hey guys, I've seen a move that Gukesh didn't play. Let me now go back here and ask the engine what they want to play. The engine wants to play Rook D2 because, hey, naturally, Rook D2 looks at F2 to check the king and brilliant. Rook D4. Rook D4 for probably being able to capture here and defend the bishop as such. And F6. But when I did play H5, the engine was very happy about that move. You remember, I just played it. Look, I played now again. I proposed H5. And the engine said, dude, this is a cool stuff. I like it. Look at the eval bar. Look at the bar. The engine says it's cool. This is it. That was a good one and a very natural way to take the pressure off the F5 pawn. Very important subtlety. Anyway, F6 is the third line of the engine. I played the move which was completely off the record, but the engine actually loved it. He didn't mention it, but he loved it. Now, F6 being played, what does that mean? That means, first, one big danger. And the big stuff is, boom. Check. E5. The king can only retreat here. G3. There's nothing else. And then it's black's turn again. And let me tell you something else. Black might be playing king G5. The problem is H5 coming with check. You gotta drop back. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure anymore. Anyway, it's Magnus's turn, and I guess he knows that black plans on pushing E6 to E5. He knows that. He knows that very well. What is going to do? People, can we grab the pawn on F5? Or is it bad because of this? No, it can't be because I'm going to take it straight away, but then the rook's going to take it. Oh, we got to get to an ending now. That's why our boys do not rush. They do not hurry up because it's very important to play the ending nicely. By the way, 0.00. There you have it. It was almost -1 for Gukesh. Then instead of playing the incredible natural move H5, noticed by at least two of you, he played a way more milder, way more innocuous alternative, namely queen takes e3, which was a shocker. I mean, I reckon he wanted to simplify the position. I understand that. But I was very surprised to see that queen took on e3 from Gukesh. I was surprised. I was actually expecting h5. Yeah, happens. Okay, shall we very, very briefly go back to Erigaisi and Prague and Caruana Dominguez Perez? So this is Prague doing better than the previous position now because this guy's going down. And if king touches it, guess what does black play? Rook takes a6. So when the white king takes, black rook takes the pawn, hitting this guy as well. Am I correct? Of course. Okay, cool stuff. So that's one idea. It's very difficult for Erigaisi. For that matter, it's actually getting even worse. This kind of structure with the pawn and the bishop blocks the white rook completely. The black rook can't move. It cannot move. And there is no white piece, exactly as I said it in the past, there is no white piece able to defend g2. So that is why Prague's going to win. And the poor white king, can't even touch this guy because of rook takes a6. And it's bad. It's just bad for Erigaisi here. Prague's going to win this one. He's going to win it. He got 11 minutes. Okay. It's more than enough for Prague to capitalize. He is going to be winning. Nice one. Congrats, Prague. Oh, okay. It's a bit too early, but I think I can be just confidently claim that actually Prague's going to win. He's going to win it. Let's look at Caruana. Fabi Caruana here. White Queen is suddenly very much free to do a lot of stuff and threats and attacking. It is Dominguez's turn. There can be no checks because the White King is very nicely protected by the White Queen, so there is no checks from the Black Queen. The pawn can't move because I'm going to take it. Where does the knight move? I don't know. If the knight would play here, would it be having some checks? Very nasty. So king goes out of check. First thing first, there was a check. And now Fabi has 29 minutes. He's got half an hour to decide what to play next. Is he going to do queen e4? Is there something stronger? Queen e4, potentially 4. Oh, by the way, guys, wait a sec. Whoa, what about queen h8? I mean, the knight can't move, right? Okay, if it's too weird, I think queen e4 is quite playable. I mean, it doesn't bring a huge modification, but still. Okay, what about bishop b4? I'm just telling you all the candidate moves I'm just noticing right now. Bishop b4 in order to play queen f8. Is it strong enough? Step Pranav, guys, what do you think? Is it strong enough to play bishop b4? Or you want to try something else? If you wanna be taking a ton of space, you could just do this first, see what black plays. But you know, bishop b4, I like it. This is good stuff. It's really good stuff to play. It's really good stuff to play. So in between bishop b4 and queen e4, queen e4, it's like asserting dominance for white. A lot of space. The white queen reigns supreme in the middle of the board. Is doing fabulously, and it's great. Limiting the black king's squares. Can't go on the g. I am sorry, you cannot move on the g. Probably bishop b4 later on. Why not? Looks very good to me. Absolutely brill. Absolutely brill. Okay. Let's go back to Carlsen and Gukesh. Something had happened, guys, because the bishops no more. The bishop and the knight no more. And now we are going to be seeing very soon a draw. Because let me think, what is white supposed to be playing? White might be having, you gotta be a little bit careful. I think you're gonna play this or this. Rook a5 or rook a8. Which one's gonna be, boys? Ladies and gents, which one's gonna be? Rook a5 or rook a8? Rook a8 would be for the purposes of checking the heck out of the black king. Like pretty much forever. And that will be a draw. And if you do rook a5 is to stop this. The problem is white cannot stop black to pushing, for instance, h4 check, thus pushing the white king on the second rank. So that's a thing. Hello, Kumar. I do have a Discord channel, but I haven't used it in months because I have found the Discord interface very unfriendly. I got panicked and I left the website straight away. I mean, I've created it. I don't even know what's the password for that one. I've forgotten my credentials. I mean, it's still Soren Chess Coach. Okay, don't matter. So I do have a Discord, but I barely use it. Rook a8 Step, there is something. You're going to play rook a8, and don't get me wrong, it's just fabulous. But black's going to play h4. You're going to be moving down the board. You're going to be moving on a second rank. You do not have a choice. Black's going to play this check. What do you do? Because if you're still moving down the board, Black King's going to play f4. I think white's losing. So let me tell you something, Step. I've reconsidered. Ramsey Bolton said, I've reconsidered. I don't think I want to play rook a8. I think I just want to keep the rook where they are and do nothing. Because I'm scared as hell about check, down, and then check, and down, and king f4. You tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong, please. And then we're going to ask the engine anyway. But I want to see if we could fathom this. So if you leave the second rank, I think it's might be getting funky. What are you going to play? Especially after king f4. Hitting your f3. I don't know. I suddenly don't want to depart from the second rank step. And now I'm going to ask the engine. I'm going to tell you something unpleasant for white here. I think white needs to just move on the second rank and stay there with the rook for the time being until further weaknesses have been created. You just want to play like left and right, left and right, left and right. h4, let's assume rook takes. How do you push the king again? I think you just give a pawn. I think you've just given a pawn. How exactly you're going to get compensation for that pawn? So I reckon white needs to move left and right, and that's it. That's what it is. And Magnus should consider himself lucky because Gukesh was kind of very close to be winning. So Magnus should be absolutely grateful, so to speak. He should be happy. It's Black's turn. Oh yeah, apologies. It's Black's turn indeed. Check, check. Now you're gonna come on the second rank. And you know what King's gonna do, right? King h4. And you know what White's gonna do? Right and left. Right and left. Right? That's all you could do. Because if you move the rook in a desperate attempt to do I don't know what exactly, you're gonna have very unpleasant stuff like rook d2, and then things are gonna be dropping. Actually, you're gonna lose. So this is very important. Puma, my friends, correct me if I'm wrong, if you think I'm wrong. It's very important that Magnus maintains the white rook on a second rank, apart from the d2 square. We can agree on that. So, see, you name it, whatever. Yeah, okay, he moved the king, fine. But this is a trick in case to making you think that the rook had departed psychologically. They haven't. If you still play this, exactly the same stuff. You're going to be losing h3 and then you're going to get checkmated. So Magnus going to play exactly like this. And the only thing black can do now is just to push this guy. And that's it. Now we're going to play back. King g2. King g2, defend f3. Exactly. You're going to be playing eventually f5. And then we're going to play a2 and c2 all day. You can't push the pawn, obviously. You cannot do that. And I think white needs to maintain the status quo. Nothing else. Okay, that's a smart check. It doesn't mean nothing. Black's going to push f5. You're going to go back on the second rank. You have to go back on the second rank. Unless you found a genius plan, but I don't think there is any. There's nothing you can squeeze out of this position, guys, apart from back on the second rank and stay there. Tell me if I'm wrong. What can white do here? Nothing. Rook back on b2. It's painful for Gukesh because the lad had huge advantage. But he unwisely, recklessly traded queens on e3. Unfortunately, you guys remember, those of you that were here when we are commenting live. Okay, what does Gukesh want to do? This and this and this. Ah, combative. Very combative. You got to be very careful though, because at some point there is the point of no return. Okay, Magnus committed himself to push h4. You know what that means? That the black king cannot go back on 5. And eventually, if the rook leaves the third rank, you might be able to play h3 and back g2 if necessary. But now Magnus can does have the freedom to move the rook, because the king is no longer hitting the pawns. So he might have the luxury to just playing this kind of stuff. Because if this, and you still got to go away, and the rook's going to check you. And maybe the white rook is going to go, If the white rook takes this guy off the board, easier said than done. Okay, I think Gukesh should be settled for a draw here. What can he force here? He can't force too many things. If this happens, then this is going to happen. The rook is not going to have any points of access. There is no points of access for the black king. Draw. Exactly. There you go, ladies and gents. There you go, fellas. All the common sense and the technicalities and the expertise of this chess masters decided that this should be a draw. And it is indeed a draw. A shame for Gukesh. Let me just go back to that particular moment, guys. That very moment where I think it was incredibly important and Gukesh should have played differently. That is, just give me a sec. We're going to go there. What move was that, fellas? Here. This is it. Move 33. Magnus had 2 minutes 35 seconds on the clock. And the best move for Gukesh is actually h5, a move that our friend Pranav noticed, and he actually asked the chat, shouldn't we be doing h5? And I looked at it and I said, freaking yeah, absolutely. This is the stuff. Because h5, you can't move the knight. You're going to get checkmated on g2 because of the battery. So h5 forces queen straight, and then this guy actually get connected. The black pawns are connected. And the very active bishop. And it is what it is. The knight still should have come on e3, but at least black would have had connected pawns. So I think this was a very important moment. Let me just go back a bit here. And now the engine says h5 minus 0.80. And the move Gukesh played was queen takes e3. We all know what happened next. And that is just minus 0.49. So that was the stuff. And Gukesh didn't play it. Sorry. For him, he missed an opportunity. Anyway, it is what it is. Let's go back to the remaining game. Do they still battling? So let me just go briefly, guys, here and see what is going on. Caruana and Erigaisi. Come on, Erigaisi, man. This lad's going to be winning. Prague's going to be winning this one. What's going on? Okay. Oh, whoa. What am I doing? I don't want to see the lines. Erigaisi's turn. Exactly as I said, the g2 and h3 cannot be defended. Okay, rook c5 to hitting the other pawn. I guess Prague just takes this guy. Takes the so probably Prague should be taking king takes h3, rook takes g5, pawn comes down, and you've got a problem. You move the king. I'm gonna take the other guy, and still be looking very, very optimistic for black here. All you need to do is just grab the white pawn, just take him. You can't move the rook to defend the pawn like this because you're gonna have a problem with this guy. So you must take the h3. I don't think you want to push this for the time being because the rook will be taking it. So you don't really want... What? Is this really the plan? This is interesting. Oh man. Oh man. What about a7? Is that a problem? What are you gonna do? You're gonna do the rook back? Then king goes here. Okay, look, this is weird. I mean, the engine says it's absolutely fine, but I'm not very comfortable with this idea. I think I would have taken on h3. Let me see. Did I actually play a blunder? Rook g8, the first line, and g4. Is king h3 that bad? Let me just check. Incredibly bad. It's super, 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 super not very good. Because rook g5, c3, rook c5 doesn't look good at all. So actually, that would have ended up in a draw. That were to be. Oopsie daisy. Okay, so how do you meet the a7? Is the a7 met with what? Ah, you just take. You just take. Okay, the Valba says it's playable. Yes. Now, probably want to take this guy, but then this pawn going to be moving down, down, down. And if you play this, we're going to be playing rook in front of the pawn, and that's it. Yes, plus there is another guy. Plus there is the rook that might be checking. Okay, probably that's the case. Probably that's the case. What about Dominguez and Caruana? Hey, Step, do you remember when I said bishop b4 for queen f8? You remember, brother, I said that at some point. That idea. It's just been applied by Fabi. Bishop b4 for the queen f8 check. Now, knight had been played. Knight had been played to d5, attacking the bishop. And I think you could do a couple of things. Amongst them, you could just move the bishop on d2. One. If you want to play a bit more aggressive, probably this. Probably this. Which is a check. Then the king might be moving in the middle of the board, but then you know what happens? f4 happens. Then they might be moving down one more time. Then you play bishop d2. Is it that bad? If you don't like it, just play bishop d2 straight away. Play bishop d3. You cover all the dark squares from the knight. And, you know, or, I don't know, I haven't looked at all, but it could be queen c5, but I would keep the bishop on the board, though. So what did happen? It happened queen g8, as I said. The first idea. No, the second idea. Queen g8. If this, probably f4. Probably. Maybe. Perhaps. What else? What else? So not too many games left. Just 2 games left from today's clashes. So these are live games now. Fabi battling Dominguez. Fabi with whites. Doing very well. She should be winning. And Prague should be winning versus Erigaisi. So, yeah, these lads are very happy today. They are very happy. Okay. Erigaisi Prague. Any evolution of the games here? Not necessarily. What about this one? Let me go back. Yeah. So there are 2 games left, guys. King to e5, exactly as I called it now. Is white going to be playing f4? White going to be playing bishop d2? Is white going to be doing something else? I mean, I don't think you got something. Oh, the dice have been cast. There's nothing else now. You got to do f4. And after f4, bishop d2, I guess. No, I am wrong. After f4, you do have queen to h7, though. You do. Do. You're gonna keep checking, but then they might be playing to d4, and you still have to move the bishop. And then you do have what? The bishop is under threat. You still have to move the bishop, right? Oh. Well, you know something? Fabi is having 20 minutes. Fabi is on 20 minutes. He can actually just spend 10 more minutes now. Just to, getting level time-wise. And in the meantime, he actually thinks and makes a very wise decision. Absolutely. Okay. What other games? So it looks like Caruana would be winning here, and this one, Prague, would be definitely with huge, huge, huge advantage. Okie dokie. This guy, what? Okay, this is some development. Uh-huh. Queen takes, moves. And whatever you do, you could potentially do this, but it doesn't make so much of a difference. King's gonna move. He built up a bridge. He wants to stop the rook from accessing. How do you play with the back here? Oh, I know. You take. He takes. You move. Yes. Take. Moves. You move. Modes. You promote. But you got 3 more pawns. What nerves of steel Prague has. I mean, this is sick. This is absolutely sick to actually get to this moment, promote, and the other guy promotes as well. The big difference is that black is boasting 3 extra pawns. This is the huge difference. Now, Erigaisi would try to collect the other pawns, that is. But Prague has huge chances for win because 3 pawns, it's potentially 3 queens. So if the queens come off the board, that's the end of it. So now he got to think. I mean, am I going to block? Am I going to drop the king one more time? But the problem is, if you drop the king, they're going to be checking. You're attacking 2 pawns at the same time. You're going to be losing. So probably you've got to do this kind of stuff. Then more checks are coming. And Erigaisi wants to make Prague playing sloppy moves and making mistakes. Go figure. He wants to keep playing and checking Prague's king, hoping that Prague's going to make a mistake. Actually, it's a disaster if they play queen to f5 now, because it would be queen g4, blocking the check. Yeah, queen g3, that's what I would have said. So that's a disaster, this check. Yeah, that's the check. You're going to go here, they're going to be checking you again. They're going to check you again. They're going to be doing a lot of checks. Lots and lots and lots of checks. That would be a check with hitting the pawn on the 7th rank, though. That's what it is. If Prague manages to trade off the queens, he wins. But you probably noticed Erigaisi is on 18 minutes and Prague is on 5. So queen e4, checking. What do? Block again. That's what I would do. That's just at the first glance. I don't have the luxury to spend 5 minutes here. You've got to react. And looks like queen f4, it's very safe bet. Exactly. If there is a check, you're going to play this, forcing the queen straight. And then you win. Therefore, Erigaisi not going to be playing queen e6. You're not going to be playing this. You're probably going to be playing this or this. Yeah. Anywhere where you don't get traded. Can the black king move somewhere where they can't be checked? Is it g5 playable? Not necessarily. Maybe h5? No, you can't. Bloody hell, you can't do this. Annoying. Can you play king? So you need to find the square. It is very annoying, step 65. You need to find the square where you can no longer be checked. So, what square might that be? Could it be f5? I mean, you're still going to get checked, right? I mean, and then hopefully, you're going to go behind the pawn somehow. Maybe here. Then another check. Maybe here. then suddenly there is no more checks. So if you're happy with an Odyssey, with the King's Odyssey, f5, f6, f7, if that works, do it. Because you need to have a little bit of tempo to pushing these guys or to checking yourself the white king until you generate a queen straight. And Step, you are correct. It's incredibly frustrating and annoying because your opponent will check you at every opportunity, and you need to always constantly think and think, where the heck am I getting the king out of checks? And you might need to travel down the board or up the board, depends how you look at it, and go behind the pawn or something. So you've got to do f5, f6, f7 perhaps. That's all you could do, right? I mean, what else you want to do? Yeah, you do this, they're going to be checking you again. True. Do this, where is the check then? No more checks. So I guess f5 and f6 is actually the direction for the black king to move out of checks, giving you the necessary tempo to either check, putting the white king... Oh, he goes back on h3. He dropped a pawn, man. But he got no more checks now, so black, it does have an opportunity to decide what to do next. And I thought that probably the king needs to go downwards. Let me actually see something. Let me just go back briefly. Let me see if f5 is even mentioned by the engine. No, it is not. It's king g3 or king h3. It is not mentioned. Let me see how bad that is. Let me see how bad of a move that is. It's not that bad of a move. It's not that bad of a move, okay? It's not. Because you got a ton of pawns, that's why. But Prague played the better one. Here's the master here. King h3. Where is the check? The check would be... Oh, he took the pawn, actually. Therefore, it's Prague's turn. He played c3, pushing the pawn. And now e1, so obviously targeting this guy. What are you going to play? You're going to play this? Queen g3? Oh, you called it step. Yeah, I guess queen g. But you do get checks, you know. You do got check here. You're going to come down. They're going to be checking you again. You're going to be moving here. They're going to be checking you again. You're going to be moving here. And they check you again. They grab your pawn. Oh. Oh, man. Uh-huh. Yeah. I think you're right. I think you're right, Step. I think you're right, brother. Ah. Crazy. Crazy. Oh, boy. Yeah, queen f3 makes a ton of sense, right? You want to defend c3 and block some incoming checks, but you can't block the queen e6. What did... Oh, yes. Yeah, absolutely brilliant. Yeah, Step. If queen e6, then queen g4, game over. He's not going to play this. He's not going to play this. He's going to be playing queen c1 or something. Probably. Probably queen c1, because queen c1 would be blocking this guy. And keeping, potential attack on the c3 pawn. That might be the case. That might be the case. Other than... Yeah, queen c1, exactly. Well, every now and then in a billion years, I might be getting the right move. So queen c1. What does Prague play now? How do you capitalize? Do you move the king down the board a bit? Do you move the king? Do you move it on g2, by the way? Or do you move it on g3? If you move it on g3, you might be having this kind of stuff. No, that's bad. Boop. Queen g4, queen's off. Excellent. So, am I correct? Step for queen g3 for... sorry, king g3 for the black king. Just king g3. Where is the check? Because king g3 clears the way for the h-pawn to coming down. Am I correct? You reckon? King. So what did he play? He played King H2, check, King G3. But now, yeah, no, you can't get checked because you're blocking. Yes, Ravi, you're blocking with Queen G4, and that's the end of it. Yeah, but now he wins the necessary tempo to moving this guy down the board. Okay, probably Erigaisi would be resigning any second now. It's -8. Prague gonna win this match. And he absolutely deserved it. Magnificent game by Pragnananda. He's gonna push h3. He wants to make sure, actually, there is no funky stuff happening. Now, h3 and check from the queen here. What are you playing? You go behind the pawn? Of course you go behind the pawn, right? I mean, what else? If queen g1, people, do you go behind the pawn? If you push h3 and queen g1, you're going to be playing behind the pawn or behind the queen. You don't have too many options then. So I reckon behind the pawn. They can't check you. Again, they need two tempi. They need two tempi to check your king. So... okay. Cool stuff. Right, let me open a window, guy. Hold on a sec. Now, cool stuff. Let's go back where we were. Okay. Queen c6. Queen c6 check. That comes with tempo. It's an interesting choice by Prague. The engine doesn't say it's bad. What's the plan? Okay, what's the plan? He wants to check and trade the queen somehow. He wants to generate a specific position in which you check and you trade the queens. Okay. They might be going back though. So what are you gonna do? You're gonna play just checks? You're gonna keep checking them a bit? You know what's the problem for Prague now? He's having like less than 3 minutes. That is the problem for Prague. He's got less than 3. Well, okay, 3:22. Around 3 minutes. And if he loses the pawns, it's gonna be a draw. That's a shame. Hello, Abdul. Good to see you, man. Thanks for stopping for our stream. So, it's a very instructive ending here. How do you capitalize? How do you push the pawns and get yourself a brand new queen? Can you imagine that Prague actually anticipated that when he allowed Erigaisi to push the pawn and promote? But he was also aware that he's going to end up having 2 extra pawns in the end. Now, the struggle is you try to keep them. And the white queen is incredibly free to perform multiple checks. Now, at the minute, there's only one check here. But it's black's turn to play. And the problem for Prague is on 2 minutes. Well, 3 minutes, that is. If you do a move, you're going to get like 20 seconds or something. What's the format? What do you do? Oh, man, but then the king can go multiple places. You know? Uh, nice one. Absolutely nice one. Such a nice one. Check. You can't check the black king forever. That'll be a check. They're going to be moving, I don't know where. Somewhere. Of course, it's not too many things. Just move the king. Check again. He hopes to just... I don't know what he hopes for. Such a nice one. Queen to f2. Probably there were others, but actually Prague runs out of time. So you got to be very careful. Now the black queen defends the c pawn. No, not that one. Can you do h or g? I mean, or maybe just go this and that. Just go on the first rank. So at this very minute now, I think Prague needs to go G2, and G1. And just stay there. You're gonna get checked again. Okay. Another check coming. Probably here. Probably here. Probably here. Then you're gonna go H2. You have to go H2. Yes, Ravi. You are correct. To my understanding, looks like the Black King needs to move on H2. And we're getting very close to Erigaisi resigning. Is just unstoppable. Check. What do you play? If you play this, they're going to be doing this. Oh, and then you're going to play queen to G2. Oopsie daisy. Absolutely superb. This. And if E2, you're going to play queen G2, blocking the check, checking the white king, so to speak. And then queens come off the board, and this is it. That's a nice little puzzle here, and I think that's the correct way to play it. So, block. Where is the other check? You tell me, guys. Where is the other check? If there is another check, would be here, but that's the end of it. Yep. No, this one is better because you're just blocking. Okay. They try to stop you. Can you play perhaps queen to f4? No, you can't. No, you can't. Oh, I tell you what you do. You do h3. And after queen takes, then you're going to block. h3, yes. Yeah. Yep. You're going to do h3 just to move the pawn closer to being promoted. Brave. I don't think king h1 is necessarily bad. I don't think it's bad. But I guess h3 just humanly, you're just moving closer to promotion. And after this happens, then you're going to block. And queen takes. Yes. Yes. What's this? King to a6. Still not. Oh, guys, just have a quick look, please, on the left corner here. Mate in 45 moves. Blimey. Checkmate. Objectively, it is going to happen. The quickest route is 45 moves. Ladies and gents, please do read here. Please do read it. Checkmate now, following Prague's move, in 56, now in 48 moves. Even the engine tells you the most correct game, you're going to have 40-something moves. And now, it's not even that. It's not even that. It's just a big advantage, minus 10. Because the white queen will not allow you to push the pawn in peace. They won't give you any peace. They will constantly harass and target either the black king or the c pawn. And it's going to take you a little bit of an eternity to manage to capitalize. And Prague is on 2 minutes 32. Erigaisi plays this psychological game of using Prague's time to making him just play all sorts of rubbish moves, sloppy moves, due to lack of time. It's brutal. Now checkmate in 54 moves in if Prague plays the most accurate sequences. This is sick, okay? This is absolutely sick. I think Prague's gonna hate this guy after the I think Pragnananda's going. I think he's gonna hate the guy after the match. This is just sick. Okay, I mean, okay. Oh boy, guy, man, he's gonna hate him. Probably they are friends and colleagues, but boy, you're gonna hate him. He's gonna ask him, "How could you do this stuff to me? How could you do this stuff to me? I had 3 pawns." Oh man, that's gonna be something. So he's gonna hate him after the match. If he doesn't win or something, he's gonna hate him. Ah, what do you do? Block, no, right? And now it's another check coming. Mate in 11, mate in 10. So both of them can, not playing the most accurate stuff, and that's the reason. Erigaisi moves a bit faster because, first thing first, he can't possibly win it. He's probably gonna draw it. if he harasses Prague long enough. Oh man, what are you gonna play here? Check or something? Yeah. Yep. He got lucky now. That's the only. There won't be any second chance. This is the and Eric guys, you're gonna resign right now after C1 Queen promotion. Eric guys, you're gonna resign straight away. This is it. What is Prague doing, guys? Did he freeze or something? It's Queen right there. Can someone tell me the Queen is waiting? Can someone tell Prague the Queen is right there? Ah, probably he took time to actually write down C to C1, Q, capital Q. He took the time to write down. He didn't move straight away. And now, Eric, guys, you're going to be resigning. I would be resigning here. I mean, that's it. It's game over. He's going to be resigning now. He should be resigning now. Yes, exactly. He should be resigning now. Makes a lot of sense. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. So this guy's finished. Ladies and gents, there is only one. There is only one. Dominguez Perez and Fabi Caruana. The last, the very last, the very last. Nice one. Hard work for Prague. At some point, maybe if Erigaisi played the wisest one, he could have prolonged it for 40 or 50 moves. This is absolutely sick. You know, oh boy. Yeah, if the other guy goes in time scrambles, you know, why the hell not? This is a competition. It is what it is. Why not? Okay. So, bishop is under threat. Hey, can't you just do a check first? There's something wrong with playing an in-between move. Hey, no. What about this? So you've got... No, hold on a second. Whose turn is now? No, it can't be White's. What? No, it's Black's turn. Okay, if knight takes, we're going to be having check c4. King's going to move. Depends where. Because if the king goes unwisely on e4, then we're not taking the knight. We're going to make a skewer. Check. King's going to move, and then big time, we're going to just take the black queen. That's a nice one. So again, if black knight takes the bishop, so let's just, I mean, I didn't have time to, oh, okay. Obviously, he didn't take. Obviously, he didn't take. But now, can't we just play, guys? We've got c4. We got c5 available. Come on, it's got to be something. Hell, we even got bishop c5. We got even that. But c4 and c5 are equally very nice and very playable. Hit the queen, attacks the knight. It can't be that bad. There is no rook on the board, so you got no problem with the back ranks. The worst that can happen would be just a queen check, and then you're moving, and there is no second check coming, so there is no perpetual. You got to be careful. Fabi needs to be careful. There is no perpetual check happening. If that's not happening, then it's fine. Plus, you've got a passo on the B file. You don't have enough power, so if you want to checkmate, you need the rook. You need the rook taking the E file or something. And then you could dream at playing queen c5, and it's still not a checkmate because of king d3. That is. Okay. So you need a ton of pieces. You need more pieces. But don't matter because you're still going to be winning with white here. You just need to perform a couple of checks. Which one is the strongest one? I would just play check. Let's just play queen c4. Queen c4 check. They're going to be playing this. Can we trade? Okay, let me see. Okay, okay, we got a few. We got c4, c5, queen d2. Which one is strongest? And bishop to c5. So there are quite a few of. Now that's something I didn't anticipate. I mean, bishop e3. I absolutely didn't. It didn't cross my mind at all. I mean, you know what's the thing with bishop a3, guys? I've just realized as he played it. Bishop a3 allows the white pawn on b3 to go forwards. So you move the bishop away from being captured by the knight. And now you just push b4, b5, and get yourself a brand new queen. That's what it is. You can't get checked. So Fabi made sure there is no check. There is no danger. You don't get checkmated. You don't get checked. So bishop a3 cleared the way for the pawn. You could check whenever you want. You got bishop b2, very strong, and suddenly you target another black pawn. Thank you very much. So bishop b2, grab another pawn, grab the other pawn. I think you've got all the favorable contexts to be winning this position. Yeah. Uh, yeah, they still playing because you could be making blunders and mistakes. So probably Dominguez still trying to hold on to something, but he knows deep down. He knows you're gonna lose this game. And actually, I think he's very upset because yesterday Dominguez was supposed to be winning, and actually Fabi drawn, and now he's actually losing today. So he's very, very upset on himself. Dominguez, he's very upset on it. Yeah, Fabi gonna win this one. Extra pawn, and after bishop b2, more pawns coming off the board. That's just too much. That's just too much. Mm-hmm. 2 minutes for Dominguez Perez and 6 minutes for Fabi Caruana. And Fabi's got more time, 3 times more time than Dominguez. And now, if he wants, exactly, bishop b2. We don't need to ask the engine for this kind of things because we just realize. So now Fabi sits incredibly comfortable now. Keep the queen here just to stop any checks. Go and collect more pawns, then come back home. Send the bishop on a raid. Go grab some pawns if you want to. Just go grab some pawns. You might be having this, but it's not going to work very well because book check. And hitting the knight, then knight needs to draw back. So just send the bishop on a mission, grab some more pawns, have some fun. See if you can grab the other guy. If there is any knight, queen d2. Still protecting d1, attacking the knight. Knight will be forced to go back on d5. And you've got no issue whatsoever. Actually having fun. With 3 times more time than your opponent. Okay, twice more time. Okay. Okay, you want to be practical. So, but it's important to get this guys off the board. I would take those black pawns off the board. I don't know what future holds. I don't know what's going to happen in the next minutes. I would make sure there is no black pawn on the board. Then the only concern for me would just be pushing one of these guys and promote, or to trade off the queens and then march and get yourself a queen. Get those black pawns off the board and then you see what happens. Don't leave the pawns here. Because if you somehow fail, yes, bingo. He goes for the pawns, exactly as I called it. If you somehow fail to push this guy successfully and promote, if queen and bishop and queen and knight gets traded and you fail, you're going to have a problem because it's going to be king and 2 pawns versus king and 2 pawns. I'm not even sure what's going to happen. So if you have an opportunity to take those 2 pawns, go get them. That is the reason why Dominguez pushed it down. He wants to just, he clings to one little bit of hope. He doesn't resign just yet. Now, what do? You could do many things. Now, check here. You could do probably check here. That looks very nice. I like this check. No, you can't. That's a blunder. Blimey, what did I say? Apologies. That would be a disaster. That would be a disaster. So, let's see. What do we do here? What do we do? I'll just play this. Just play Queen D2. But this guy will be coming down. Just guys, you know something? Dominguez didn't move the pawn just not to being captured. He actually moved the pawn because he wants to play H4. I bet he'll be playing H4 right now. And after H4, Fabi's going to play Queen or Bishop to C5. That's exactly what's going to happen. H4, because you want to break things up here and you want to make the White King exposed to checks on the G column. So Black wants to push H4, and now Fabi going to be thinking about playing something like Queen C5 maybe, soon after. And you get to do more checks, you know. Playing this, you're going to be checking again, and you know, it's worth playing. They're going to be playing this, then potentially you're going to be checking again. So that's exactly what Fabi probably has in planning. This one for Dominguez, because frankly, there is nothing else. So let's be very honest. For Dominguez, there is nothing else here. You can't play knight b4 because of the queen to c5 check, and you just lose the knight. There is absolutely no play here for Dominguez. Well, apart from resigning, which is almost a certainty, apart from resigning, he can just push h4. He's gone, I mean, he's already lost, so to speak, right? So he's already lost here. So at least he can generate a little bit of disturbances, which for a player like Fabi Caruana, it means probably nothing. He realizes it's a storm in a glass. Let's see what the engine say. Yeah, the engine says h4. Exactly. Now, exactly, h4. In the minute he played h6, I knew he wants to play. Now he goes with a better move than mine. Queen c5, probably it's not as strong. So Fabi went with the stronger move. Obviously, you don't want to take, because if you take, you're going to be exposing the king to black queen checks. So it's nasty. So queen to g6, check, and now he's going to grab the other pawn. Dominguez at this stage should be resigning. And you can think that actually Fabi Caruana saw this sequence. In the minute Dominguez pushed h5, he actually anticipated h4. He knew he was going to play queen g6 and queen h7. That's what a chess grandmaster does. A super grandmaster does, like Fabi Caruana. Now he's going to grab this guy. There is a check coming here, but you're going to play king to g2. And that would be all. The queen on h5 not just takes the pawn, but also supports the bishop. So if it's queen d1, you're going to move king to g2. There is no more checks. Practically, it's just a formality here. And white is going to win even easier after that pawn disappears. So what did Fabi achieve here? No more black pawns. So even if this guy's advancement fails somehow, he'll be looking at trading off queens and bishop and knight, and then king and two pawns is a definitely win versus lone king. You cannot not win. All right. I think Dominguez thinks that after queen h4, he might be able to play this. Or king, queen, and bishop. But if even if you just consider queen moving back on h7, check, king's got to move, then you're going to play the bishop somewhere safe. And that's just a bit of a bluff. It won't matter. You still have to take that pawn. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys. So queen h4, knight f5, queen h7, check. King's got to have to play. And after king plays, then you move your guy somewhere safe. right? Well, C B3 is sort of hanging, right? Do you take it or do you play bishop c5? Let me tell you something. No, that would be a blunder. Bishop c5 is a blunder because, yeah, because check, because after check you got to move, and they would have played this check, and then they would have taken your bishop for free. So that would have been a blunder. Yes, queen took on h4. Queen takes on b3. You're still having two extra pawns. Now Fabi needs to trade off the queen. He needs to get rid of the pieces now. That's the quickest way to win. You can't push this pawn. Otherwise, you're going to do like Prague and the other guy. You're going to play like a billion checks, and you can't do that. So you need to find a way to trade off pieces here. Let's look for checks. Is there any other check we might be playing? You need to be careful about the knights, forks, stuff. Well, there's a check here, at least a check. For one. You might be playing the bishop just to make sure your bishop is nice and safe. So you might be playing this first. You might be doing a check. I mean, like a billion stuff could be working. You need to find ways to just trade off things. It's easier said than done, but you need to make sure the bishop is connected by a pawn. So, please don't look. That's a very nice one. This one happened. This one happened. You got to be careful now. Dominguez can't place the queen on the fourth rank because there is a discover check and the queen is dropping. So there's just a little bit of a tactic trick here. So you got to be aware. You can't place the queen on the fourth rank because it's bishop checking the king, and then the queen takes the queen. So you can't put the queen on the fourth rank. You just got to put it somewhere else if you want to move the queen, that is. There might be a check here, but then you're going to move g2. Okay. That means the queen, they no longer allow you to play this. So you can't really successfully push those guys. I mean, you probably can start doing it, but that would be very, very long time consuming. You probably, okay, king g2, hoping that at some point, if there is any way to attack the queen and, just put the queen here, protect the checks, maybe try to provoke some trades, but it's not easy. I don't know how. Not easy at all. So bishop here, bishop e3, then queen to d4, check, 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 and check. Maybe you can trade off something at some point. Bishop f6, bishop f6. Why not? Bishop f6. Knight here. I'm not fully. Huh. Yeah. Well, Fabi's gonna find it. Fabi's gonna find it. He's gonna definitely find it. There's just so many ideas you could play here. So many ideas. Very many ideas. Obviously, if you play queen to f3, black queen is gonna reject any trading. Okay, so he starts to pushing the pawns. G3 to g4, pushing the pawns now. So he started to roll the pawns down the board now. He pushes the pawn to promotion. And Dominguez gonna resign when Fabi gonna promote. Now Dominguez is actually 1 minute and something. So the odds and the position and the material is on Fabi's side. By the looks of it, 99.99, Fabi's gonna win this one. He would eventually just push the f pawn, and the queen is doing an incredibly good job covering all the light squares here. Ready for making any trade if necessary. Uh, you could do check, you could do king g3, then you can play f3. There's so many things you could do. I mean, queen f4 for check and also pushing this guy, perhaps. Many ideas. Very many ideas. I mean, that's just two of them. Let's see. The engine says the quickest one would be King G3. I said it, and Bishop FC. I've said that one too. I've said this ideas. King G3 for actually protecting this guy and getting ready for pushing the F. And Bishop F6, I said that one too some time ago. It's not too many options for white. I mean, these are the main themes here that you might be looking at. Not bad ones. Yeah, Bishop F6. Knight is forced to move. Again, Bobby is very happy. Yeah, see you, Step. Thanks very much, brother, for stopping by. Yeah, I'll be ending after this one as well, and I'll be returning anyway tomorrow, having a meeting with you guys. So this one will be very soon here finishing. That's a nice check again. Yeah, it's not too many options for the Black King, I'm afraid. Okay, really not too many options here. Okay, cool stuff. So, guys, I think I'll be taking a break for the time being. I would like to thank everyone here that stopped for our stream. Just reminding you, tomorrow we'll be having another round, I think. Let me just go and check on the information page of chess.com or the Fide World Cup. Let me see the information. So games would be schedule, actually. Let's go to the schedule. So tomorrow would be 17th. Yes, tie breaks. Tomorrow, round 6, tie breaks. So around 1 p.m. UK time, I'll be returning, guys, and hopefully I'll be meeting you again. And we can discuss, and you guys can chat and tell me the best ideas you can see for every single move, and we can discuss together. So again, thank you, people. Appreciate your presence. I wish you a very meaningful, beautiful, or restful day. It's up to you. Play chess, do puzzles, study lessons, and I'll see you tomorrow for more live commentaries, and perhaps subscribe to my YouTube channel too, apart from following me on Twitch, because I upload regularly some videos that you might be finding useful. For instance, the last one was on dominating on the open file, so you may want to have a look at that YouTube video that I've uploaded on YouTube. So thanks a bunch, people. I'll definitely come back tomorrow with more running commentaries. Have a wonderful day.